Welcome back, travelers, to Legendary Lore, where today we're going to be talking about the brokers. Now, the thing about the brokers is that it's interesting because they started off as paladins. Like, as far as old Capenna is concerned, they were originally like just paladins, people that were just there for protecting. They were the knights. And what we see is that just like how the other ones turn into these mob boss archetypes, teamsters for the Riveteers, for the Obscura, it's more just the spies. For the maestros, it's old money. The cabaretti, they're the ones that own the clubs and stuff. But with the brokers, they're the ones that are about protection. They're the ones that run the protection racketeers kind of thing. And they basically make sure that if you do something wrong, we can help you for a price. And it's always the same kind of idea where you make a deal, they conjure up a contract, you sign the contract, and then your memory of that contract is erased, and they'll just show up at some point and unlock it when they need you. That's basically it. And so what's interesting is that the one who made that was Falco. Falco came up with this idea, with this magic. And so it's very safe to say that most likely the first contract that was created was the one between the five main guys and the demons, which is what caused everything to happen and erased the memories of everything going on. So there's probably this massive spell that's been cast over everything. And I think it'd be really cool to see what would happen if that spell were to be broken in the event, like we return to Capenna, like the fall of New Capenna or whatever. And we would see the Phyrexians start to like reemerge or whatever, and the angels like taking back control, because the angels might eventually at some point in the future be important to the story. We'll find out, I suppose. But yeah, basically we have the entirety of the brokers set up mainly in Park Heights, but they also go to the Mezio, and if they have to, they will go down to the Chaldea, because they are all about making deals and finding different ways to basically tie everybody up in their legislature. Falco is basically just looking at this prophecy the entire time, trying to figure out how to best benefit from the collapse of the groups. But yeah, that's their basic idea. They're set up in the Mezio, and they have everything going like that. They have a place called Nido Sanctuary, and basically they're just lawyers. They're not really lawyers because there's no law. There's not really anything like that, but they're all about that legislature. Imagine the Azorius, but with a bit more of a mean streak. Classic Azorius, I guess. And so we have 6 legends for this group, technically. One of them is not even part of their group. His name is Denry Kiln. He is the editor-in-chief. And Denry's whole deal is that they're basically a news person. They're actually just their card type, their creature type is advisor. They're cat advisors, but they're basically just a newspaper person. They're the top of the newspaper. They're the J. Jonah Jameson kind of thing, and they don't really matter as far as story goes. But they're considered, the way everything is set up, because he calls them the warring papers of New Capenna, the Chaldea Union Post, the Mezio Star Times, the Park Heights Zenith, the New Capenna Vanguard, and of course the Capenna Herald. They're the 6th family of the city, as he describes them. Basically, whatever they say becomes public, and by controlling that and by being a part of that, they're able to basically maneuver things. It's not nearly as powerful as Denry thinks it is, obviously, but that's his perspective on things. As far as the other characters go, we have Rigo, the streetwise mentor. He's really cool. He showed up. They had actually messed up the gender of the character early when it first came out, but now we have this one. It's all back to normal. They have it all figured out. And so basically, Rigo was basically a kid in the Chaldea, and he was just kind of trying to work his way up to the brokers and started advancing in their ranks. And in his mind, he was thinking it'd be great to work with the angels of Capenna, and that the brokers were close enough. And so basically he would go around, and he created his own little network of kids that were spies. He had the newsies, the pickpockets, the shoe shiners, all of them. They were all just little network of kids that were able to get as much information as they wanted. And so he basically became a broker, and he volunteers to work in the Mezio despite being such a high rank, specifically to take care of the new kids who are basically just like him. Which is cool when you look at his way his card works, looking at creatures with power 1 or less. So he's looking for the less fortunate, and he's trying to help them, which is something that we've seen in a few other on the other cards like Bess, where they covered that exact idea. So as far as the stories of Perry and Kroos, we already know about them, but there's a little bit of extra little bits for Perry, where we find out that he basically would run errands when he was younger for this old tinkerer And so he would basically work with this guy, and he gave him a watch. And he would what would happen is Perry would go into the boxing ring, and he would fight, and he would get really good. He'd win, and he'd be able to get money to help out the old tinkerer. And basically, one of the fights broke the little watch that he had, but he keeps it. That's why in the story you actually see it talks about his broken watch and how he looks at it. And so, while they're basically looking over some coffee, there's this robbery that goes like crazy. And this getaway car just going straight for them, and then basically Perry just gets up and body slams the car, because obviously, and he saves the old man's life. And that's when exactly the watch broke. So it's at that point that he actually see the actual time on the watch is saved by that. And of course, now he has a giant gavel that he swings around to just smash people's heads in, because obviously. But then that leaves us with Lagrella, the magpie. The magpie, she's a pretty crazy character. She's actually, if I had to say the craziest of them all, it would probably be her, because of just how sadistic her methods are. She basically forms contracts with people. She can force people to take these contracts, and she basically will make sure that everyone takes their specific dues, depending on what their contract was broken. And so what she does is she has a bunch of exotic fish that she keeps in a massive tank, and there's a bunch of gold and silver statues that are life-size figures of the people that have broken her contracts. And the reason that they look so lifelike is because, and the maestro say, oh, these look really nice, these are really good. But yeah, the reason they look like that is because she dips them in molten metal and drops them into the fish tank. So she literally freezes them in place using her magic, and then she kills them by boiling them alive in these statues, into this metal, and then she keeps them as decorations. She's not even a Gorgon. She's just some random human. Like, what's happening? Why is this happening? How is this happening? But yeah, so she loves gold, and she's the magpie, and that's her entire shtick. But yeah, with that, we've actually covered all 5 of the houses, 5 of the families. And with that, thank you guys for watching. We'll be able to actually get into the main story of Capenna now, and everyone should be on the same page as far as how that goes. So until next time, travel well.